Hello everyone, con voi everyone, con te Gnomo, con te Leopardo. We are at our episode number 39, just one step to the 41. All right, okay, so today we are here to explore together a topic which is connected with energies, with the invisible, and with the possibility to measure energy and the invisible. It's a topic very connected with one of the goals of Damanhur.
There is some return in the audio.
Leo, I would suggest you that you open your microphone only when you have to talk, so that our audio do not compromise each other. Okay, and I will turn it off when I speak. Okay, technical issue. You see, the invisible, it's already beginning to interact with our live stream. So as I was saying, today the topic is, can we measure the invisible, which is one of the core, the key point of the Damanhur research, which means how can we become more aware of what is around us, which is living with us, that we are not actually seeing with our outer senses. And we have here Gnomo, our researcher, and Leopardo, which is the head of the Spiritual Healer School, in order to explore this topic, but also to share with you the fact that we are organizing the second edition of an event which is very connected with this topic. Okay, so I will begin with Leopardo, asking you, Leopardo, to share with us what is the event Damanhur is organizing and why you have decided to organize such an event with this topic, to then explore together in the details what it means invisible and how can we actually really measure the invisible.
Leopardo?
So thank you, Entello. I hope the connection holds because I hear you. Do you hear me well? I hear you cut.
Maybe your connection is not so well.
So this is where the invisible, as Entello said, starts to interact. I start and give me a sign.
Yes,
if I need
please.
to repeat or. Okay. So we are at the second edition of the event Measuring the Invisible. We have decided to start these events yearly because we want to create a space for encounter and dialogue and sharing between different researchers, scientists, healers, and well-being practitioners of all kind, with a common question, which is how can we observe and describe and evaluate in an always more clear and shareable way processes which are subtle and difficult to measure, but which have an impact on human well-being. And so we are in Damanhur used to working with the invisible since always. We as spiritual healers work with prana therapy and with selfika constantly, and we see its effects. And sometimes it's difficult to explain how it works, or we would like to be able to explain and demonstrate to the world in a more clear language to more people why these techniques work, as many other alternative techniques which have been explored over the years. We have started experimenting and researching, collecting data, and we're in the process of processing and seeing with instruments that we presented already last year. There's the BioWell, which measures the light and the energy that the fingertips emit, and therefore analyzes the whole energy system of the person and the stress and the chakra alignment and different aspects. We're also using a heart rate variability device, which also there analyzes how the nervous system, which works unconsciously, which controls the heart rate, the respiration, digestion, how it works, and therefore it shows the stress and health and recovery possibilities of the body. So we have started with these two instruments, and we are still searching for more devices or more ways in which we can measure the effects of the techniques that we use here. And we know that there are people all over the world who have been researching both with these kind of alternative measurements and also in very scientific ways, different therapies and different techniques. And so we would like to bring together the knowledge and create a space for sharing and also possible future new collaborations.
Thank you, Leopardo. Thank you. I think you have helped us to have a picture of why we have, let's say, launched this program and what, let's say, are the aim of these events. And I would like to ask Gnomo to share, since Gnomo is one of our trainer, teacher on spiritual physics, philosophy and spiritual physics, but it's also a researcher on what we could say. Gnomo then helped me quantum physics, modern physics. So he's tried to create a bridge between what is the experience of Damanhur on the spiritual research, also connected with the law of the universe, but what are also the scientific research connected with the nature of the universe. So Gnomo, starting from your research, from what you know, asking ourselves, how can we measure on how to measure the invisible? Is it something that can, is it something that it's already, let's say, part of the discovery of the scientific, let's say, approach? Is it something that we still need to deepen? Or is just, we can just measure the effect of the body? So we are not really measuring the energy, but we are just measuring the biofeedback of our body. Where we are at this research from your point of view?
Yes. Maybe first of all, we have to introduce the land before to talk about the inhabitants or the house. So first of all, modern physics is still not really catching the real meaning of subtle energies. In the other side, all the people that from thousands of years are healing with, for example, prana healing or shamans all over the world. There are people that they produce effect, really tangible effect. Okay, people that they can really fix very huge problems also. There is a huge literature about that, of course. We are not here to fight between, two different approaches to life, to be spiritual or to be a doctor, to be technicians and so on. I think that Damanhur in the last 50 years is trying to go beyond this conflict, searching for, as you said, and also how Leopardo introduced the theme very well, to create a bridge. This bridge in modern physics today is already discovered, actually. And the name of this bridge is complexity. In the universities, now they're all now starting slowly, starting also to create branches of research about the theme of complexity. The first Nobel Prize about complexity, by the way, one Italian, Parisi, was only 3 years ago. The very first Nobel Prize in physics about about complexity. What is complexity? Complexity is the place, is the plane where all the healers, the spiritual healers, are working. That's why we talk about subtle energy. So an energy that you can't measure, you can't see. Why you can't see? Because it's part of an higher system. You are part of this system, but you have not a complete view about the system. I think that all the shamans, all the healers in the in the Damanhurian healer school, Leopardo can say how many times during courses we are repeating again and again and again that every problem, every disease is not focused on a specific point of the body, not solely. Or in other words, this focused problem on the body is only an effect of something higher or deeper that it's part of the system. So all the healing system, all the spiritual healing system and shaman system, they are healing the person, they are healing the society, they're not healing the problem of the organ. Because in the system there is the problem. The information is wrong, not inside the veil or inside the stomach. The stomach and the veil are the effect, are the projection of this system. So today, modern physics in complexity, eventually they are starting to see the bigger picture, where complexity can express themselves. I want to give you an example, very simple example. For 115 years, we know, because Albert Einstein described it very well, that gravity is not a law. Gravity is an effect of the curve of space-time. But this effect, this curve of space-time, is because of something that happened in the complex system. So in other words, today, thanks to the complexity, maybe it will be also possible to describe what really is gravity in order also to create anti-gravity. This is one point. And that's why Leopardo was talking about biofeedback and other systems that are not focused on a specific point, but are focused on the complete frequency of the person. Okay? Because there we have the data we need. So I think that we are not really searching for measurements. We are searching for a new approach. Leopardo was talking about a new approach. He was talking about a new approach to something that it cannot only be described or measured, but has to be understood, embraced. Do you understand?
Thank you, Gnomo. And this is why, thank you. And this is why I want to ask to Leopardo, because we have now introduced the fact that Damanhur has a spiritual healer school, which of course train spiritual healers. In Damanhur, the spiritual healers learn to use their body, especially their hands, in order to, I think, send, spread, channel prana, so energy. So, Leopardo, I want to ask you what is the approach of the spiritual healers to energy and to the perception of energy? Because there we are not talking about an external technology. We are talking about a person which is learning how to perceive energy and to, let's say, give energy. Let's say like that. So can you help us to better understand what is the approach, the paradigm, the point of view of a spiritual healer?
Thank you. Yes, so as you said, healers learn to be in contact with this energy, prana, that they become dispensers of, we say, somehow providers, transmitters, channels for. And it is about learning to feel in the body, always more in depth, and to expand our perception, to expand our senses, and to little by little perceive on a more subtle level. So we in Damanhur speak of not only of the 5 external senses, but other 3 middle senses and the inner ones as well. So the path of the healer, amongst other more technical or theoretical aspects is a lot about this experience of being in presence, in contact, and expanding one's perception and expanding this sensory training somehow.
Thank you, Leopardo. And Gnomo, where do you think that physics and, let's say, this esoteric, ancient, energetic tradition unexpectedly agree on this topic? So where there is actually already a match, a connection between the fact that spiritual healers train themselves to use soul senses, let's call it like that, so other senses to perceive energy, and where this is connected with what physics and modern science is saying. There is a connection yet, or there is absolutely not a connection on the way we approach the energy. So the fact that actually the body is a technology, we can develop the body, we can help the body to perceive more by training it in a specific way. Is this part of the scientific, the most advanced scientific approach, or completely no? They have a completely different point of view. Gnomo, your microphone is off.
Sorry, completely not. Absolutely not. Definitely, there is not yet a bridge because the problem that is affecting science today is this still very deep division between the different aspects. So biology is working about biology, physics is working about physics, and very few people, of course, I think there are many people all over the world that are trying to create bridges like we do in Damanhur. For example, in Damanhur, we have doctors are working with healers, or doctors that are also healers. But this is, very, it's a rare example of bridge between those two parts. This is because, I have to repeat myself. It's because the physics today is really approaching what means subtle energy only now, because some aspect of the modern physics that is not working at all, for example, about the energy of the emptiness, for example, or the nature of gravity, or what is the center, or what happened into the center of a black hole. So there are, of course, aspects that are showing us that there is something more we can dig, but still not a real bridge and connection between different fields of science. For example, an aspect that in the School of Healers we touch and we study a lot is water. The secret of water is still a huge secret, because also from the point of view of chemical aspect, there is some very strange and very interesting aspect of water. Only one example to be more, more practice. Our body, not in terms of weight, okay, but in terms of number of cells, the 98% of our body is water. So only the 2% of difference from some water on the street is a man. Biology cannot yet describe why. Okay, so here in all those paradox or problems, we have to work together. So doctors, mathematics, math, physics together, in order to understand what really means the invisible. Of course, we were joking before the recording with Portulaca. Leopardo will say, oh, we have to be more clear about what means invisible, because most of the energy of physics are invisible. Yes, this is not only correct, but is the crucial point. Invisible means that you cannot measure. It's transparent. For example, can we imagine an object inside the universe without a temperature or without a color? No, it's completely transparent, cannot be perceived in some way. It means that maybe according to the different observer, something can be visible, something not. So we are already still talking about who's the observer of the phenomenon. Okay, so in a nutshell, modern physics cannot accept that a man, a woman can produce an energy that can heal someone else. But there is something that we can also point up, that from thousands of years, people all around the world use, for example, yoga in order to realign yourself. And this create effect on the body. For example, today, the modern medicine, also doctors, for example, they suggest to people that they suffer about stress, that suffer about many different kind of disease, to do yoga, to use the breath. Why? Because when we realign our parts, something very special happens. We come back to the idea of complexity. When the body is coherent with themselves, something happens. And that's the mechanisms of prana healing. Let's imagine something that maybe Entello you don't know, is a very vintage idea, the towers of compact disc. Entello, do you know what is what?
No, I know.
Okay.
My older brother had it in our room.
Okay, so let's imagine that a man, a woman, human being is like a tower of compact disc. Every disc has its own hole, small hole, but the disc, because in the tower they are rotating, they are not aligned. So the energy cannot go through. When all the discs are aligned and the hole is perfectly aligned, we produce an effect. That's prana. And that's why to be healer means also to prepare to be healer, to do a training, and so on. That's the target. I think that also there are some specific place, like some specific university that is open to discuss about those aspects, but there is not in the mainstream still an opening in order to really touch all those topics. Not yet.
I want to ask you a question to Leopardo and Gnomo too, since we can also, let's say, put the question on can we measure the invisible into can you measure the invisible? So how can we help someone that is now watching this live stream, or in future will watch the recording of this live stream, to begin to experience the invisible? So how can, in your experience, thanks to your teaching and knowledge, what is the best approach and practice to begin to perceive the energy, something beyond our outer senses? What we can do, what the spiritual healer do in order to perceive the energy? Leopardo, what would you suggest? And then Gnomo.
Thank you. So in our school, basic first element, which also anyone who receives pranotherapy knows, and also as Gnomo mentioned, yoga and traditions which come from thousands of years back, one of the first steps is breathing, bringing attention to breathing and bringing an inner stillness, calming the mind, and creating space for opening this new level of perception. It happens often spontaneously for people in different ways. We train this daily. Also, we ask our clients in order to strengthen the effects of pranotherapy. So it's not only to train the perception, but also to give more power to the effect, to this drop of prana that Gnomo very well explained, that passes when the discs are aligned. So I would say this is the first element that comes, learning to breathe in presence and calming the mind and relaxing the body, therefore.
Thank you, Leopardo. Gnomo, what would you add to this question? What would you suggest? What would you share from your experience and research?
Yes, I think that something that is usually a little bit a challenge for the people is to understand that more that we try to be focused, more that we try to search, more that we try to achieve this effect, and more than this effect is moving themselves again and again and again. It's like a run. But the problem is that everything is upside down. We have to dismount our mind. The more than people in the last 50, 100 years, they started to be so mental and so complicated that it's not easy to feel all those energies. We have to relax. We have to dismount our mind and not to try to, but to feel. So, in a nutshell, it's so simple that start to be complex, not complicated, to feel the subtle energy, because it's very simple. And we are not simple. We are always using our mind. We are always struggling with needs and wills. And this energy destroy the field we need to embrace these those subtle energies. So I can only repeat what Leopardo very well described: to breathe, to stop your mind, spend time to prepare yourself and perceive. It's too easy. It's too easy. Are you with us?
Sorry, yeah, sometimes my connection, I don't know if Leopardo too, it's buzzing.
Be honest, it's because it's after lunch. You're sleeping. Entello, can you hear us? Entello, you're frozen.
I have now tried to change the connection. Yes, now do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, I've changed my connection, sorry. The invisible was interacting with us. There are so many things that we can't see, but they actually interact with us. So we are coming to, let's say, to close our meeting. We have the last few questions for you, since we have, let's say, focus on the energy and especially on the spiritual healers, which we could say that in Damanhur are the people, the person which, let's say, train themselves more to interact with energy. Of course, talking on a spiritual level, on a spiritual healing level. So we're not talking about a scientific approach right now. I would like to ask again to Leopardo and Gnomo with two different aspects. So how is possible that a human can send energy through their hands? So how this can happen? Of course, it's part of ancient tradition. Fine, we all, maybe the people that are following us, we all agree that this is possible. There is Reiki, there is prana therapy, there are tons of different methods to send energy through our body. But how is possible that our body can do so? Can you help us from, let's say, a different perspective to understand how this is possible? Because I think that there are so much information about this topic that maybe we can also be confused, or we can stay in the surface and say, yes, we can share energy because, yes, we are antennas. Okay, fine. Let's try to go a little bit deeper on that and answer to the question why humans as a species can send energy, especially through hands, or you can send it from all the part of the body. I mean, let's go there. Gnomo is already laughing. Leopardo can begin, and then let's see Gnomo. Okay, Leo, what would you say? Why humans can become such an antenna?
So, yes, I look forward to then Gnomo giving a more technical explanation. What I can say is that I think, or we know that we humans are actually natural channels of energy. And then, as we have said before, as Gnomo said, we have become so mental and somehow so reduced in a certain way that we are no longer connected to this potential that we all would naturally have to channel this energy, which is life energy flowing everywhere, also inside and through us. So there are natural healers who conserve this quality naturally. After a certain training and preparation, there is this activation which opens a certain channel, which connects us more intensely to our energy reservoir, so to say. Although this is a bit how we explain it, it is still a very mysterious subject, so to say. Energy is a mystery, prana is a mystery. All of this is a mystery that we find metaphors in order to explain. So I would say it's a natural capacity of the human being who is in their full potential, and we are trying to recover this aspect. But I would really love to hear Gnomo's explanation to this.
Gnomo, what would you say? Why human as a species can channel
I understood
energy?
very well. Sorry, I have to give everything upside down, because what Albert Einstein with the relativity proved is that the universe is a stuff where everything is connected, completely connected. If you move something in one part, all the other parts have to move. That's why energy and mass exist. Energy is a way to transmit mass. And this is always happening as a dance, using the language of the ancestors. As a dance is always happening. How is possible not to transmit energy? The modern humanity found a way, creating cultures, creating habits, creating one of the most dangerous disease, specialization. The healer is someone that found a way to swindle the person and to find a way to restart this natural exchange of energy. So it's upside down. It's easy. It's normal. It's natural. It happened. usually. And that's why today all over the world there is a lot of there are a lot of disease, a lot of cancers, a lot of very dangerous problems, because we destroyed the pattern of the connection between humans, using specialization, using strong habits. I'm a doctor, or I don't know. For example, I'm a developer. I'm not human. I'm a developer. Okay, all those specialization are creating isolated boxes. Do you understand? It's upside down, the problem. So the healer is someone that is finding a way to destroy this hole that the person is giving from himself and the rest of the world.
Bellissimo, beautiful. Thank you, Gnomo. So actually, we are doing something that is very natural for our species.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So before we close our talks, and where I will also at the end ask to Leopardo to highlight again the events in September. I just want to ask you to Gnomo and Leopardo, if you have to choose a sentence, a topic, something to underline before we close our meeting, what will be? Okay, so we have talked about a lot of things, we have said a lot of different things, but now let's put it to a sentence, into something, in order to help us to let's say interiorize something at the end of this meeting. So what will be for you, Leopardo? What will be for you, Gnomo? Then we highlight again our events, and we can say goodbye.
I would like to underline this that we mentioned before, especially Gnomo, that we would like to create this bridge where science and spirituality are not in opposition, but where there is a connection, they are connected, where there is a constructive connection that works for this new paradigm for the well-being of human beings.
Thank you, Leo. Gnomo?
I think that we have to write, when you enter in your house, be your breath.
And also in our hat.
No, you can't read it.
But others can read it, and you can read it to the head of others.
Yeah, on your
breath.
Big fish. Be your breath, because we have to come back to the simplicity of life, and we have to remember that we need to breathe. And that's why in the healer school, Leopardo know very well, we are repeating again and again and again every night when you go to sleep, before to sleep, please stop and breathe. Nothing all, then breathe. You have to breathe.
Perfect. So, thank you, Gnomo. Thank you, Leopardo. We are now at the end of our live stream. Again, we want to invite you to the meeting that we are organizing in September, which is actually the day before the autumn equinox. So it's also an opportunity to join Damanhur celebrating the autumn equinox. And in these events, we're gonna explore all these topics. Leopardo, what can we expect from these events? If you just want to highlight it again, and if you want to remind us the date, because that's also important. But then I'm sure that we can post under the live stream the link to sign up with all the information, but just to do a refresh.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, so everyone invited to the event, which will take place on September 18th and 19th. It will start on Friday evening at 6 and then last the whole day Saturday. There will be talks and presentations of different researches and hypotheses that professionals and scientists and researchers will present. There will be also experiential parts, maybe connected to experiencing energies and also measuring. There will be different measurement tools that will be presented and works that have been done. So the intention is to, again, create the space of sharing, interaction, and that it is an experiential and alive moment together. It's a free event. Everyone is invited. Please share it with your friends, whoever you think could be interested in this subject.
Wunderbar. Thank you, Leopardo. Thank you, Gnomo. Thank to all of the people that has followed this live stream. And we're going to meet together next month for the episode number 40. And thank you, everyone. Let us know in the comments again your questions or whatever you have, let's say, to share. We can always meet in our Damanhur communities, which is our online platform where we can share during the month from a talk to another talk. And in the details, you can find all the infos also about the meeting that we are just talking about. Thank you, Gnomo. Thank you, Leopardo. Con voi, everyone.
Con voi. Thank you very much.
Bye.
And don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed.
Subscribe.
Subscribe yourself on the community.
Breathe and subscribe.